Very recently I was privileged in company with Cheryl, Lynn and Melissa Santis to visit and investigate during the day the former cemetery known as Bachelor's Grove, which is some miles distant from Chicago in the state of Illinois. When I got there, I met up with Melissa, who was waiting for me in company with some of her friends. Although they didn't actually join me on this investigation, they certainly went around to try and elicit some form of paranormal behaviour. The damage to the site is palpable. Everywhere you go you can see headstones which are removed and thrown across site, or headstones and graves which are completely and utterly disappeared. And the real tragedy of all of this is the fact that this site and its names on those graves carries an early American history, which would of course in later years be valuable for researchers. But sadly now it's only known for its hauntings, and considerable hauntings which have taken place there over the years. I think the most famous one was a photograph taken by Judy Huff, I believe in the 1990s, which showed the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove. The history of the area dates back to early English settlers that moved down from New England, and they were servicing basically a travel route which originally passed through the settlement on the way through to Chicago. But of course, with development and progress, this road had been largely abandoned, with newer roads being built which are much more faster and convenient, and also the canal which had been dug also to draw traffic through into the city. And certainly by 1950, when the last of the occupants had all but died off, very little remained of this area apart from the graveyard. So what's left today is a number of broken shards and remnants of those who were originally interred there, and particularly so to the Fulton family grave, which stands out as an edifice to the tragedy which has betook this particular site. My interest in the paranormal here manifested itself last year when I went there in October and picked up quite a bit of EVP just wandering around the graveyard. But an area which has always fascinated me, and of course has attracted so much into legend, is the neighbouring woodland, which is part of the forestry preserve. And I should add, because of the activity caused by visitors to the site, the area is completely off limits at night and is regularly enforced by the local forestry preserve police department, and woe betide anybody that goes in there during the hours of darkness. And joining me today is Melissa. And you were here last year, weren't you? And you
Yes,
really
I was.
enjoyed it, so it's nice to see you back.
Hello.
Say hello, Cheryl.
Hi.
And Cheryl's going to talk a little bit later about her experiences here and the evidence that she's
Because I
captured.
just love this place. And it loves me too, I think.
Good. And you picked up some incredible stuff in the woods as well, the
Yes,
lights.
yes.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to go for a wander into the woods
Okay.
and let's see what we pick up.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll follow you then, Cheryl. Now this is a back path that takes us through into the woods. Okay, we're now walking into the depths of the forest.
This is actually a little pathway where you can go to see the disappearing white farmhouse.
So a dried up riverbed.
Yeah, last time I was here we had water. It was a nice stream here. There's nothing today. That's too bad. It's
There's
very
another
pretty
chipmunk.
when the water goes through.
Now where have you picked, now we're standing here, we reached the end of this trail because there's obviously a river there. Where have you picked up the activity?
It was over on this side is where I saw the farmhouse. And it was clear as day, as if the farmhouse was really there, and it was kind of bizarre to me because I'm in a forest preserve and I know there's not a farmhouse. But it had rocky chairs on the front porch, a light on in the window in the middle of the afternoon. Why is there a light on? And then I turned around and it was gone.
So for those of you back home wondering what it's like to wander around Bachelor's Grove Forest, here we are. And probably one of the last days before the winter. Okay, we just follow through here. Oh, bad smell. Hang on a minute. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
Can you smelt that?
Yeah.
When in England, when I've been to places where there's been a negative energy, it's always indicated by a sudden rush of a bad smell that just suddenly appears and then disappears very, very quickly. And we just walked through this point here and we picked up a very, very negative smell. The smell of, well, it smelled like rotting flesh or very, very dirty clothes that people are wearing. It's a horrible smell, and it's just by the riverbed. So there's something, I believe, quite negative here. I'm not feeling it in the sense of blackness or evil, but for 1 second, fleetingly, it crossed our path, didn't it?
Like it walked between us.
Yeah, yeah, a really, really bad odour. And it's not here now. There's no drains or anything, but even drains don't smell like that.
Right, there's no water here.
There's nothing
It's dried
at all.
up. There's no dirty water.
That's interesting. So I'm hoping that we might have something on camera which might be a message from whatever this person was that just crossed our paths. Wow, yeah, that was quite potent, wasn't it? So yeah, that was quite a negative smell. It wasn't a positive smell. Okay. We've smelt your presence here. Who are you, please? Can you tell me your name? We know you're here, and you made sure that we knew that you were here, and that's why we smelt you, your energy. Okay, the impression I'm getting, it's imagery in my mind. Somebody that was connected with the settlement here, somebody who wasn't very pleasant.
That's what I mean.
And I'm picking up something that could be a loner in spirit. I just get the impression it was someone that other people didn't like.
Right.
It was... Yeah, that was really, really horrible. It's very negative, wasn't it? I thought I heard a voice.
Me too. Did you speak to us? We thought we heard your voice. Can you say it again?
You see, with all the background traffic from the motorway next door, plus the birds and other animals, it makes it not so easy to pick up very clear EVP here.
I sure don't smell that anymore.
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
Well, we'll carry on back towards where we were. Okay, this is roughly where we were. This is by the old river bed. Oh, branches just fell off a tree. I think it's a branch. What's that tapping noise?
I hear it.
You have woodpeckers here, but woodpeckers are much faster.
I don't see.
It sounded like someone.
Birds.
It sounded like someone chopping wood.
Yeah.
There. There's something really weird. Hang on, the light's not good there.
Oh.
There's something very, very weird. We just heard someone chopping wood.
There it is. Yeah. Someone's chopping wood. Wow, it's amazing. Hear it? I hope it's picking it up. Someone's hard at work chopping wood right here in the forest.
But they're not chopping, they're just...
Tapping on the trees. Are you tapping on the trees to show us where you are? And it stopped. Wow.
This is really, really weird. You could hear the sound of either wood being chopped or someone hammering wood. It's back again.
Again.
And then it got louder and louder, and then as Cheryl shouted out and spoke, it stopped. Must be people. There's nobody else here.
No, there's no one here except us.
It's wood. And you can hear it over there. By legend, the woods are as active as the cemetery, and Cheryl is going to share some examples that she's captured here a little bit later. But there's something definitely going on here. I'm not going to follow off where the sound's coming from, because it could be a trap, it could be something which is dangerous. But it's just interesting to hear it in the background. It stopped completely.
You can't really walk in there. There's no trail, so that makes it even more interesting.
And yeah, there's somebody in there.
Yeah. Still doing their job that they did every day.
It doesn't sound like they're actually chopping. It sounds like they're just hitting something.
Yeah.
Should we go back and tell the others? That's weird. Okay, thank you. Wow. Yeah, you just can't get through here, look.
Yeah, you can.
It's just thick scrub. There's no way of walking through. This is very, there used to be a bridge here at some point, I think. That's weird. Okay, we're coming back now into the cemetery area. You can see with the fencing. That is incredible. If you've not got an EVP, seriously, if you haven't got an EVP on there, or my camera...
Oh, there's got to be something.
There's got to be something there.
There's been so many people trying to talk
The bad smell, the wood tapping, the change of atmosphere, everything is there, isn't it?
Yes.
That's really, really weird. Okay, let's go back. We'll go back into the cemetery. Okay, we're now ready to go on the next part of our journey. We're joined by Melissa, and she's got an EMF meter, and hopefully we're going to try a different trail, and with the potential, of course, of picking up something more interesting. With regard to the sound of the tapping in the woodland, another group who are here have actually gone down there to investigate for themselves. So it'd be interesting when I speak to them later whether or not they too have experienced something here. So I'm looking forward to it. Shall we crack on?
Absolutely.
Anything?
We went pretty far all the way in there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just great.
Felt like
Did you hear anything?
no, but I felt like I wanted to get out of there real quick. I had a feeling.
But you can see there's no way anyone could be in those woods because
No.
because it's so overgrown.
Yeah, it's too overgrown. I know I'd have trouble walking through there. For
And yet
sure.
there was someone in there tapping, and hopefully it's on the camera.
We didn't hear anything when we were in there, but
How bizarre, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to wander down another trail here, and we'll come back and report on that, and then you can double check it. So it's a nice
Hey.
way of verifying what we're
Sounds
picking
good.
up. But we can't hear that tapping noise now. It's just totally gone.
Yeah.
Right, up to you then, Melissa. We'll follow you. I'll go ahead with the camera then. Actually, it'd be easier. See you guys in a minute. Okay, we're on a different trail now. See, last time we were here, it wasn't possible to go walkies in the forest because of the rain, but today's perfect. Okay, this path has taken us closer to the motorway. Oh yeah, now if we look down here, is that a stone? It's a grave. Yeah, there's a grave here. I don't know whether you can see it on camera. You can see a line of what looks like concrete, but this is the base of a grave. Oh yeah, and here's the headstone. Here. And there's the headstone. I wonder if the cemetery is not the entire cemetery, that it's actually part of it.
I think it is, because there's no way this just got moved. That's probably, I'm sure the fence was not there before. Right? When people were living here, they didn't have chain link fence in those days.
There's a
No, that's
the boundaries though. That's why I like to know exactly where the boundaries are.
Yeah, but
This was probably
they've
all
ignored
cemetery.
part of the forest, haven't they?
I think
Right.
so.
That's weird.
Yes.
That also, by the way, is going to be another reason why there's problems here. Okay. Going back deep into the forest. Something moved then. This trail ends here at this point, where they both go either to the river or the stream, or down to the quarry. Okay, should we wander down to the pond, the quarry pond? Okay, thank you. As you can see, it's very, very, very rough. We'll just walk down here. Oh, it's just one algal swamp. In the 1920s, Al Capone used to dispose of his opponents by dumping their bodies weighted down into this quarry pond. And certainly over the years, handguns have been recovered. They drained this off. It's like a swamp. They found guns and even found, I believe, human remains. So those stories about Capone are probably true. But now it's just a morass. It's just a swamp covered in algal slime, and it's awful. There's no life here at all. No life at all. Everything is dead. And unfortunately too, oh, I say anything's dead. Ah, a bullfrog's just jumped out. But yeah, it's pretty hideous here. It really needs to be cleansed rather. Is there anybody here would like to say something? Any victims of Al Capone, his gang, or anybody else? If you could tell me your name. Oh. Anesthetic. The smell of anesthetic.
Yeah.
Can you smell it?
Yeah.
You smell it? It smells like the stuff you find that they use for cleansing wounds.
Yes.
Yeah, I can smell that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and now it's just faded a little bit.
I just got goosebumps.
Right, I was talking about the victims of Capone and other gangsters whose bodies may have been dumped into this swamp, which is a pond. And then this smell of anaesthetic, like it could have been used to treat someone's wound before they died. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Is that you? Did you have a gunshot wound and they were trying to clean it?
Because when they drained this off years ago, they found a lot of stones in there.
Lots of guns.
And guns, and they even found some human remains. So it tends to bear out the Al Capone or gangster element that he used to dump their victims into this old quarry.
Were you one of Al Capone's victims?
It's very interesting that I touched on the victims of Al Capone, and then we smelt the smell of a cleansing fluid. Now, my view on this could be that some of the people that ended up being dumped here died of their injuries, and to save the embarrassment of the cops asking too many questions, these gangsters who may have been treated for their injuries may have died and were dumped into this swamp that's behind me. It's just a theory. I have no evidence at all. I can't back it up. But the fact that we can smell anaesthetic, what do they call that stuff? It's like not Jay's fluid. There's a type of hospital fluid that they use, don't they?
An alcohol type.
Yeah, an alcohol-based cleaning fluid. It's gone, isn't it? Completely.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
for a second, it was very strong.
Yes.
That's weird. So we've had, so far on our journey, we've had the sound of someone either chopping trees or hitting trees. We've had a very negative energy smell. And you're getting a reaction. Can you put the camera on there? Let's have a look.
Yeah, I was getting readings. It went up to...
Right, okay, that's back to normal.
It went up all the way up to 15. Wow.
So it flashed.
Not once, but 3 times.
Okay, it's not doing it now, but that's what often happens.
As we were talking about this.
Yeah. Just as a point of reference, I always make sure now that whenever we use EMS, because of the controversy attached to them, that they can be easily activated by cell phones, we've made sure that all our phones are switched off. In fact, I've got one phone here which is completely turned off, and Melissa's phone's turned off, and I haven't got a phone, so there's not going to be an issue there. So that was interesting. So unfortunately we weren't able to evidence it because it happened very quickly when it flashed.
Yes.
So it's starting to get a lot more interesting. When we talk about Bachelor's Grove, the world's most haunted cemetery, all the weird and wonderful things that have happened here, and now we're starting to sample some of these events here today. Well, it's getting certainly interesting because a lot of things are starting to happen here. Smell again. Just briefly, just faintly, that anaesthetic smell.
Yeah.
So who died of their injuries and ended up being dumped into this pond? Mind you, on the other hand, it could well be one of the people that lived here that died of injuries as a result of an accident. We'll go back into the cemetery, shall we? And we're at the next... Well, should we go this way, Melissa? Yeah. Yeah. And then what we'll do, we'll have a ghost box session.
Okay.
Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going back into the cemetery. We're going to have a ghost box session and see what we can pick up on there. Okay, we come here in love, light and peace. We mean no harm or disrespect. But we have this device here which can draw through your voice and you'll be able to communicate. So just by thinking about it. Could you tell me your name, please?
Is there anybody here that would like to speak to us? I was wondering what you think about this mess that the people have made of your cemetery. Does it make you sad?
I've travelled here from England and I can see a number of people here have British origins. Are there any people here of British origin who would like to say something? Thank you. Was that somebody with an Irish accent? Are there any Irish people here? I'm half Irish myself. I'm going to get that as far away as possible from the... Are there any Irish people here? There's a male voice there that keeps cutting in.
Are there any German people here?
Eine deutsche Volk? Get out of here.
What was that?
Get out of here.
What's that mean?
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I've never said that before. That's probably a German word.
Is there anybody here from Ireland? Could you tell me your name, please? My name is Chris. My ancestry on both sides of the family, I've got Irish blood. Are there any Brits here, please? Any British people? Who's the lady with the flowers? It's Irish.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but who was the gentleman who was smoking a cigarette? For the Irish people here, could somebody tell me their name? Are you happy to talk to us?
Marcy May, are you here? She said yeah. You hear her? She's saying it. How are you, Marcy May?
Good.
You remember me, right?
Okay, we're going to move down to the Fulton Grove. Oh, you can feel the energy blowing off here. Is there any member of the Fulton family who would like to speak to us? Could you tell me your name, please? Could you tell me your first name? Do you mind us being here, Mr. Fulton? I'll walk around with the ghost box. Mr. Hamilton, John Hamilton, are you here? We've got a positive there. Mr. Hamilton, are you Scottish? John Hamilton. The Shields family. Again, Shields is a British name. Charles Shields, Elizabeth, Robert, are you here please? Elizabeth Shields, Charles Shields, can you say your name please? We've not met. Mr. Shields, could you say something?
3.
What about 3? They're laughing. They're laughing. Okay, we're wandering down firstly to the Fulton grave. We were there earlier, but when I was here last year, I've always felt that this was the core area of activity on this site, but we'll see what happens. How are you finding it? Are you finding it interesting?
Yes, and I found out that too. That's something about the Fulton grave. It just always attracts me. I have to always.
So
go
a strong energy
Yes.
pull, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the biggest marker in the graveyard here that nobody seems to be able to. It's good to know your history when
Not
you
too
come
bad,
somewhere.
thank you.
I didn't get the memo to wear formal today.
That's okay.
No, I'm English. We dress like this. The gentleman here. So we feel you don't mind me while we're talking filming. Are you someone who is interested in history here?
I've frequented the place a few times, had a couple experiences.
Like what, for example?
A lot of cold spots.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. That's why I was by the tree here. So I did get a spike on my reading.
Oh, excellent.
So, and then one time I saw in the pond, there was a face in the pond.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
Then I took a second picture and it was gone.
Well, today we've heard someone in the trees chopping.
On that fence?
No.
Where was it?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, over there, yeah. We could hear someone in there chopping, but obviously, and then we smelt something very foul. We've smelt flowers, we've smelt by the pond, we've smelt antiseptic,
And then cigarettes.
cigarette smoke, and smell of flowers or perfume.
I've heard stories like right by this tree here of smelling smoke.
Smoke,
That's
yeah,
where we
yeah.
smelled it.
That's where they
Right,
smoke.
right
Yeah.
by,
Yeah.
right by this tree here. And the farthest one in the corner, that's Daniel and Dora. They are known to talk a lot. So if you have
Who are they?
And the
The
farthest
one that you can't. The ones you can't read.
No, it's
Okay.
between those two trees there.
Okay, because there's some graves in the ground I know you can't read, but there's a man by the fence that always talks to me. On the other side of the fence.
So there's a lot of activity. We're hoping we're going to pick something up here
Something.
today. Yeah, yeah.
You know, I've seen people out here and they say, you don't look for the guy in a white sheet running around.
Exactly.
It's all, there's some mist has been in here.
There's a lot going on that we are not consciously aware of, but it's there, isn't it? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could feel different feelings sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, mate. It's
Thank
very
you
kind.
much.
Thank
What part
you.
of England are you from?
I live in Essex, near London.
Oh, okay. My wife has some cousins live out there
Yeah.
in Manchester.
Well, if you look at most of the graves here, they're all British names.
Oh, a lot of them, yes.
Yeah.
And half of them are missing now because over the years, people have
It's tragic.
Last
Either
summer,
yeah.
somebody
stole
came and
them
really
or,
destroyed it
I mean,
last
I wouldn't
summer.
want to take one home with me.
I think they're in the lagoon. I don't think.
Yeah, a lot of the markers, but to pick them up would be quite a feat.
I don't know how they lift these. They're heavy.
And the one in the corner here, right where you come in, the one on the ground, that's the Patrick grave.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's on top of the stone, Sometimes it's down, sometimes it's on its
I know,
side.
they're so heavy.
So either very
Whoever's doing it, yeah, they've got Herculean strength or they're on drugs.
Yeah,
That's true.
I would say a little of both.
Yeah.
True.
We call them beer muscles here.
Well, nice meeting you, Mike.
to meet you.
Thank you.
If I could share with you a picture, that's the picture I took of the pond.
Let's get that on camera.
Okay, now do you
Still,
see
we've still
it?
got a bit of lot out there. Yeah.
You see something in there? Go down in this corner. You see some eyes, nose, eyebrows.
This will be fascinating. So what we have here, we have an impression in the trees of Bachelor's Grove.
Actually, the branches, you stand in the right spot, which is hard to find before. Stand right here.
Stand here.
Now you see the twig.
And up in the trees, you can see here, folks, is the initials B and G in the trees. I mean, how weird is that from this angle? Bachelor's Grove. And there you have it. Thank you, Mike. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's pareidolia. It's completely coincidental, but it's just amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
And for somebody to take the time and just see that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is, folks. B and G. Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
And the tree over here we call it the breast tree because
Oh, it's got a bosom. Yeah, I can
the
see
one
it.
on the left.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and there's a few trees around here. If you just look at the markings on the tree, you could see some faces.
You know what's going to happen now?
Very
When I
interesting.
share this video, we're going to get a lot of people coming down here looking for that tree.
There you go.
Well, to give people an idea roughly where it is, this is where I'm standing. So,
Inside the gate to the left.
yeah, inside the gate. So the gate is over to the left there in the corner.
See that? See the lantern?
That's amazing.
Now, years past, they never cut the grass like it is, so you would have, you know, the stand-tall weeds and
It'd be like a meadow, wouldn't it?
yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
a little creepier
But
too.
you know, part of the cemetery's outside.
I'm sure there's, you know, over
Beyond that fence, there's another grave.
yeah, there is another path.
Yeah, you just follow down that path and it's just there. Shall we have a wander down to
Yeah.
that path?
Yeah.
Do you want to join us? That's where we heard
I'll
the,
take a walk.
that's where we heard the axeman.
Now, I was here maybe 2 weeks ago, and there were 3, I would say, 20-year-olds here, just curious, came by, and we were all standing here, and we heard bang, 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 like somebody hitting a pot.
Wow.
3 bangs, and we all turned and looked, and I'm like, there's nobody out there.
And there can't because there's a stream there. That's why
We think they were trying to, we felt that negative smell and we think they were trying to entice us into the woods. But you can't get in there because it's so overgrown, so you know there's no human. And if it was someone chopping trees, surely they would use a chainsaw.
Oh, I would.
Yeah, why would someone use an axe? We better grab our bags though first.
Somebody else will come in.
Okay, we're now going back down the same path that took us to the broken... I think there used to be a bridge at the end of this track. Now when you come into this part, it really starts to feel that there's people here watching. Yeah, over here. And that's where we heard the noise, over there.
I walk down to the clearing in the middle.
I mean, There's absolutely no way anyone could get through that undergrowth. No. It's just too dense and too thick.
It goes down here.
Yeah. Well, not in this, certainly not in this lifetime, so. Yeah. Okay, it was down here, and it was just up here, wasn't it? Yeah, it was here. Okay, we're back here again. Is the woodman here? Could you give us a sign, please? This is because we expect it. We didn't expect it when it happened. And with most events that happen, it's when you don't expect it to happen. Now we have the knowledge, it's unlikely it's going to come back. But other people came. I mean, this was being videoed when we heard it, so it's not like we're just saying we heard it. It's on camera. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Oh, we got it for sure because it was loud.
Let's go a little bit further up.
No, it was not.
I'm just going ahead on my own here with the camera. Just want to see. I know there's somebody here or something that's here. It certainly is palpable. It's everywhere you go in here. And you just feel there's people in these trees. Just watching and listening. But again, you look at the undergrowth, it's just impossible. Nobody could walk through there. So what we're going to do, we're going to explore further up to see whether or not it is possible that someone was hammering away on the tree. But we never saw anybody else on site, did we? We came up this far because we saw that pot. Yes, our marker. Now, as further we go along here, the more pervasive the atmosphere. Anyone in spirit here, could you give us a sign of your presence, please? Could you make a noise? Could you give us a sign that you're here? We come here in love, light and peace. We mean no harm or disrespect. We just wish to make friendly and peaceful contact.
Can you knock on the trees like you did before? Do we know where you are? Did you want us to come in there by you? Knock on the tree so we can see which tree it is.
Did you hear something over there? It could be an animal, but I heard something moving through the undergrowth. Should we go a little bit further? We didn't go that far, did we? So we're going to go further along this path, deep into the forest. I think this forest is probably a lot more haunted than Bachu, definitely. Because it's more remote. It's not a place that humans visit very often. And the trail that we're on is starting to disappear slowly. I'm just looking for signs of humans being here, but I mean, obviously, as you can see on this tree, a number of the trees are marked in a reddy orange. Oh, here's another marker here.
really quiet now.
Yeah, it's changed.
Back here it's quiet.
Look how dense that forest is.
I
It.
know.
You feeling anything?
Not right now. Feels kind of empty right now.
Feels placid, doesn't it? Gentle.
Yeah.
We'll go back. I mean, it's worth coming up here, but as people, for you folks back home, you can see how remote and how isolated this place really is. It's just dense forest. I mean, no one's been here. And yet we heard that chopping.
Oh yeah. Loud and clear.
I love this vine. Look at this.
I took a picture of that.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean, they've marked a nature trail through here, obviously, but it hasn't been used for some time because there's lots of branches blocking it.
Isn't that amazing how nature just makes it?
Yeah. Feels very peaceful, very calm.
Feel something right around here.
What about here? The trail's blocked further up, so nobody's been through here for a while.
Have you ever traveled the other side?
No, no.
That's where the clearing is. There's talk about sacrifices going on.
Oh,
things like-
yeah,
things like-
usual stuff.
Right.
Yeah. There's a legend for everything here, isn't there?
Exactly. And they get better every time the next person
Yeah, I
tells
don't
you.
feel like anything happened like that.
You know, if there was an abandoned toilet here or something, it'd be a haunted building. No, it's very run down and broken. It looks like no one's maintained this trail for some time. Yeah, this place you could easily get lost.
I just go by sound because the road is.
Yeah, that's the only marker you've got to draw you back, yeah. And here we are, back down by the river.
The further you go in, they say there were you find foundations from old buildings that used to be back here. Probably some of the people buried in it.
Oh, probably next to the house.
You're gonna be able to navigate over the. You gotta go this way. Here's one of the wells they line them.
Sorry, Mike, look at this on camera. What have we got here?
They used to dig down and then they would line it with bricks, and I guess it would keep their food colder.
Oh, so it's a larder.
Right.
So what we're looking at
I
here,
forget the official name of it, but
I know what you mean.
so it's a food store.
Uh-huh. I'll have to look at
You
it.
gonna get a picture of that?
Yeah.
So we're looking at, yeah,
you can see all the stone has been placed in there.
yeah, it was lined with stone to keep it cool. So out in the forest was where they kept their food.
Well, their farm was probably right here too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at this from the perspective of where we are here now. But in their time, this would have all been
It was
cleared.
Probably
Right.
all nice and
Yeah, could
Yeah.
be somebody's house.
Yeah.
so
So there's just traces of the old settlement here in the forest. And that's why it's so haunted.
Because the forest has swallowed up the sediment.
There's another hole here as well.
There could have been one and then
Yeah, that could have been.
years it eroded.
Well, they're definitely not natural.
Oh, look, a brick.
A house brick, look. There you are, folks. There's evidence that there was houses, and that the bricks are quite small. Oh, I can't pick it up. Let's turn it over. Yeah, it's taken from somewhere along here.
What's this?
Oh, and some tile here as well. This is part of the drainage pipe that you found there. Let's have a look at that. So it's part of a drainage pipe there. So we're definitely in the settlement area here, which is long gone. So if there's anybody here in spirit, if you would like to talk to us, we would be very, very grateful. I was at the clearing. We're now going to a clearing which Mike says has a notoriety for being haunted. So we're going to explore that now.
Somebody took the time to put this wood in square.
Yeah. You want to tell people from home, huh? Look at that.
This is either has a reputation as satanic worshiping.
Probably just.
What, in this area that we're standing?
That's the legend has it, or major partying people
I thought I would say.
would come here and they would stay here for days and just
Well, it's out of the way. No one would ever know they're here.
Right.
exactly. So someone did take the time to
To make space.
all the way around.
And it goes up over here. The light is not very good. Oh yeah, you can see there's a cigar wrapper.
Oh, yeah.
So people are still coming here.
Yeah, well,
Okay, we're in that clearing. So this is an area which allegedly has been used for satanic worship, but it's certainly a place that people come here to party. Or both. Yeah, it's just really interesting.
and basically the creek is right here, and where we walked first was just on the other side. So,
Excellent. Yeah.
and then this doesn't really go any much further.
Let's stand this side.
But there are a lot of clearings out on this side where the trees come down. And
They come in and clear the trees out every once in a while. They just
I'm
leave.
not sure.
That's very, very interesting. We've just been for a hike through the woods to examine with Mike some of the original road structures that existed here many, many years ago, and also some of the remnants of the settlers' houses that existed here. So this whole forest actually encapsulates a settlement of people which is now long gone, and their remains are now interred here. And one can also imagine how they must feel about the state of the world they created, how it's deteriorated into the mess that we see today, with the wrecked graveyard and with their houses sadly long gone. It's certainly been an interesting experience, but perhaps what is more interesting with Cheryl here today, she's going to explain some of the experiences that she'd had here, and also some of the EVP and photographs that she's taken of paranormal events. But I'm certainly intrigued to know whether or not we've captured any activity today on camera. And of course, as I said, to reiterate yet again, you will be the first to know before we do. Okay, at this part of the day, we've done all of our day investigation. We've wandered around with the camcorder on a number of locations. We've done EVP sessions with the ghost box and with the camcorder. We've had some wonderful experiences. But what about the events that have taken place here in the past? Especially with people that come here on a daily basis. Many people have had their own unique experiences of activity. And Cheryl here is going to talk about some of those events, which you can see just here. Now, to start off with, I understand you've been coming here for a number of years.
Right.
And primarily for EVP or the paranormal?
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what was here, so I did. I came over here to see if I could get some photos and some EVPs, yes.
And we're talking about a photo. Now, the folks back home, you can see this photograph and the light in the forest. Can you explain more about that from one of your visits here?
My sister and I were over by the fence at the end of the cemetery, and we were trying to look at some gravestones on the ground, and we couldn't quite see the names, and so we said, well, let's turn around and go see if we can read some of the others. And we heard with our ears a man behind the fence yell, "Hey, get back here." So we turned around to see who was there, and I started snapping some pictures, and I got the lantern out into the woods there.
And that's just an amazing photograph. And you look closely at the photograph, folks, you can actually quite clearly see a lantern light.
Yeah, so then I wanted to see where the man was. So I walked out the gate here, and I said, I'm going to head down the path. I didn't know what was down there, so I started heading down the path. And over on the left side, I saw a white farmhouse, and I thought it was kind of strange because I'm in a forest preserve and there shouldn't be any houses here. But I'm looking at it, and it had a front porch and some rocking chairs, and darn, there was a light in the window in the middle of the afternoon. So I turned around to tell my sister to come look, and it was gone.
Now, if your sister wasn't there, would you have gone to the door?
I would have gone as far as I could, yes.
And of course you didn't have a photo, you weren't able to capture a
I
photo.
didn't have a camera with me because I wasn't expecting to see a house down
Well,
there.
that's often how it happens, and this is
Yes.
true. For all of you out there that have carried out your own private investigations, you've all had that moment when you had your camcorder switched off or you were looking the other way, then something incredible happened. And that certainly happened for us today with the guy in the woods. But fortunately on this occasion, we were able, I hope, to have captured the sound of somebody chopping trees.
Right.
That was really, the woods here seem to be perhaps a lot more active than the actual cemetery. And the other point is, of course, just wandering around on the forest trail, we came across the remains of what appears to be part of the properties that once stood there. So I think the residents are perhaps very much in their own homes, in spirit, inside what is now a forest, and a very, very haunted forest, I would hasten to add.
Yes.
Very, very creepy. And talking about creepy, I understand also you've captured some fairly unique EVP.
Yes, I was standing over by this side of the fence, and if you do your history on Bachelor's Grove, when this was a settlement, people used to come here on Sunday, have picnics, and on Saturday night they would put a wooden floor down in here and people would dance. So I walked over there and I said, well, it's Saturday night, will anybody be dancing tonight? And I have a woman saying, we'll be dancing. And another woman said, I almost fell off my chair. Now, you wouldn't expect to hear that inside a cemetery.
And we've got this as EVP here.
Yes.
Have a listen.
There be a dance tonight? There be a dance tonight?
And what else have you also captured here?
I came last summer after it really got vandalized here. It looked really bad, as you could see now. And I says, it's just really a disgrace how it looks here. And I have an EVP of a woman saying, yes, it is, and hold the teardrops. And somebody else said, I'm trying. So they're very upset about what has happened here, too. They're very aware of what's going on here.
And this is the EVP, so you can listen for yourself. Anything else that's worth mentioning?
I just love coming here. There's something about it that she just keeps calling me back to her kingdom here. Not sure what it is, but every time it's a unique experience. Something, and today was just the most with all the smells we were smelling.
today has been really special, and I'm fairly sure. I think when certain people get together, I think that kind of kicks off activity on
True.
some occasions,
True.
and I think that may have happened today. I've certainly found it extremely fascinating. I've loved every minute of it. It's something I enjoy coming back to when I'm over in Chicago, and I hope, sincerely hope, that you've enjoyed the fruits of our labours. And here, unfortunately, we have to end the day. I thank you very much for watching the show. And thank you very much to you, Cheryl, for joining me. And also Melissa, and also Mike, who was here a short while ago. It's certainly been an interesting walk around. And now, of course, we're on to other things. So we're going to leave Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, for me, at least for another year. And in any case, I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Thank you, and thank you.